In the last video, we saw how we could calculate lost customers, resurrected customers, and retained customers. So we've done a really good job doing that. So what I want to do next is to put everything together in a simple dashboard that our users can interact with. And for starters, let's go back to some of the few things that we did. If you remember from the start, we created a simple matrix here that where we get to see retention rate and cohort performance. So to take that a step forward, we're going to be adding churn rate and churn customers to this particular field parameter. So all you have to do is go back to the retention metrics and edit this. So in the new line, we have churn rate, then name of. We already have the metrics, so we reference the metrics. So this should be number 2. Then we would also like to add churned customers, then name of churned customers. Then this will be number 3. Then click on enter. So after doing that, you realize now that we have churn rate and churned customers here. Don't worry about the formatting, we can do that later on. So what we would like to do next is to put this in a way that we can actually use it well, right? Add some simple stuff. So we want to change this to a drop down. Settings. So this is going to be a drop down. So whosoever will be using this report just gets to pick what they want to see at the moment. Then there's date as well, right? We need to add a date filter. If they should, for example, have long dates that they want to choose from, or filter the data for a particular period, it will be a lot easier for them to see. So I'm going to leave this like this and adjust the retention metrics. So we're going to have our header here, and we're going to have this place as our navigation pane where our users get to filter and interact with the report. So that's fine. Let me just take this to the start. Retention. So I will want to just create a simple background here for this report. So one way to do that is I could actually, okay, let me do that here. I wanted to do a background in Power BI, but sorry, in PowerPoint, but let's just do that here and see how it turns out. So I have this here. We would need to turn on the fill or the background. So to turn on the fill, we need to choose a color. I think I have a color here saved. So I'm going to use the hash code for this color. And I would take the transparency to 0. I would also like this to go to the background. Go to the back rather. This way all this comes to the front. Then what else again? Then the remaining, the canvas here, add a color to the canvas background. So I'll be choosing the same color, but I'll increase the transparency to 16%. That way we get to differentiate where we have our visual from the navigation pane. You can choose to also have a header, for example. Just to be sure that everything is working out fine, we could turn off the border for both of these shapes. And this looks great because this is where we're going to have our title. So we can insert a box and call this Superstore customer cohort analysis or cohort report. That's fine. We'll remove the background and increase the font size to, yeah, seems fine. Let's adjust it down a bit. Then change the color to white or something close to white. Superstore customer report. So if we have, for example, like an icon, we can shift this text right here, and icon for the company would be at the top here. But right now we don't have an icon for this company, so we'll want to adjust this title to sit right there. That's fine. Then we can also play around with this to see how this works out. Then I'd also like to change the theme. I believe it should be to this one. Yeah, I choose this theme. I like the font that this theme uses. It's really nice. So what we will need to fix next is, for example, we see all these values. We want them to have this formatting as we change them. Unfortunately, for now, I've not seen a very easy way to do this. So you have to do it manually. So let me show you how to go about that. For churn customers, just click on this visual, then go to the format thing, then scroll down to where you have specific that cell element. So you have churn customers, you turn on the background, then the background should be, yeah, from where we have it to, and we don't want to don't format this, then we click on OK. Then we repeat the same thing for turn rate, turn on background, then we do don't format. Up next, we have the what performance. Okay, that's fine. Then we have retention rate. That's also fine. So we've been able to do something simple, and this should work fine for us. So other things we can do is to think if we want to see only this here, or if we want to switch to seeing retention, trend, line. So we'll take it one after the other. Up next, we would like to format this as well, right? So we can increase the size of the values to 14. That's a lot. That's more visible. Then we can go to the header. The header says we can increase that to 14 as well. For the start of month, I think the header is 14 and the values is 9. Let's see if we can increase it a bit, but it may not work out the way we expect. Yeah, it's going to about 10. Yeah, so 10 is still fine. Then other things we can do because of this white background is to take out this white background. But if we take out the white background, it means that we also have to, for the values, we have to change the color, right? Probably something close to white. And let me see the header. White. Start of month. We can also apply the same idea here, where we say the background should go up. And we want the values to be something close to white. And for the headers, we want the headers to be white. So now we have our retention metrics. We have the start of month. If we want to add other stuff here, I can push this now. I can now push this a bit closer. So that's nice. Save this. Always ensure that you save your work so that when you run into issues, you have something to recover. Let's duplicate this page. So we're taking out this visual now, and we don't need this matrix anymore. So what we just need here is the start of month. Go to some of the other pages and get some of the visuals that we have there. For example, this is the visual for the new customers, retained customers, and resurrected customers. That just shows the percentages. We can bring this visual right here and paste it. So the visual is a lot bigger, so we're going to reduce the size. There's one more visual I would like to bring here as well. This visual here, the visual here shows us the lost customers. We can choose to compare the lost customers to, for example, the retained customers. We have lost customers, retained customers, or we can choose to compare it to, let's see, the resurrected customers. Okay, let's use the resurrected customers. Lost customers and resurrected customers. We can and paste it right here. You can choose to use exact measures where you look at the properties of one visuals and use that to update the other visual. So we have just two visuals here where your users can interact with, and which your users can interact with a lot easier. For now, let's hide the other pages. So let's go to the start, and we can choose to adjust this a bit and paste this right here. So what you would choose to show in your report may vary depending on what you want to see. So let's just call this lost customers and more. Then this already we've left this as we left this as our retention, so we can just call it the retention metrics. You just notice that the retention, yeah, that's correct, retention metrics, lost customers and more. So you can see your lost customers, you can see the percentage composition, you can see the trend of how this is moving. Then we have our start date and month. I left this as start of month because I want users to always choose the start of month, so they don't choose a date in between. So we can modify this later on when we've modified some things, we've changed it. And we can rename the y-axis for this visual. So let's see, what's the title? Number of customers. That's a lot readable. So this is new customers, that's fine. We can this will be percentage composition. Name this to where's the y-axis? Title, percentage composition, percentage composition. This looks fine as well. We can go back to the previous page, and this time around, what we need is a button. Although we may not use the button right now, we will use it in the next video. Adjust this a bit. Give some space. The button should be here. So we're going to name this button text. Monthly cohort. And since we are seeing the monthly cohort right now, I would want this to show that, yeah, this is what we're looking at right now. So we're going to modify the style a bit. We're going to fill the visual. Choose a color that we use for the sidebar. This should be this. Then increase the transparency to 16%. We can now remove the border and change the color of the text to something a lot brighter. So this is monthly cohorts. Let me see. Okay, this is still not working fine. Let's see what we can do. Fill. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, this looks fine. Then we can reduce the transparency a bit. Reduce or increase, let's see. Okay, so this is close. Monthly cohort. Then we can duplicate this. And this should be the one for weekly cohorts. Remember that we've not done the analysis for weekly cohort. It's going to be in subsequent videos. Text. Where are we? So for the weekly cohort, we're not seeing that right now. So the button for that one should be a bit subtle. So for the weekly cohort, we're going to change the fill. See, or we could, okay, this seems fine. Weekly cohort. But this one is going to have borders. The borders will be this, and let's see what it looks like. That's too much. We can reduce the size of the border to 1. Transparency, let's move closer to 50. And what does it look like? Okay, this looks nice. So the goal here is to help our users understand that they are looking at the weekly cohort. We can choose to group these two together to make them distinct or different. So when our users switch between monthly and weekly cohorts, they get to see different results. We can copy these two and take it to the next page. Remember that this is just something basic, right? You can do something more advanced, you can do something more fanciful, but I don't think I want to do that right now. Just giving an idea on how you can put this together. That's fine. So we need a way to shift from retention metrics and navigate to the previous page, right? Did I say previous page? To the next page. So one way to do that, we can use buttons. We can also use the, what's it called? Navigator. I rarely use this though, page navigator, for example. So you see the page navigator, it will just give you all the pages that you have right here. And you can choose to, here we have show hidden pages. You can say no, we don't want to do that. But the problem with that is that if we get to hide this page later on, we won't be able to use it. So you may want to create your own navigation buttons. So one way to do that is to still use the idea of buttons actually. Just insert a new button. Just insert a new button right here. Then we can just say we can give it the destination of where we want the button to go. Excuse me. So on actions, you would want to navigate. Choose a destination for navigation, lost customers and more. Then let's see. That's that. For the style, we go to, let's call this trends. So if we call this trends, we increase the font size to 14, or we can use 16 to make it something bold that the user can see easily. Then we also need to increase the color of the text to something, change the color of the text to something brighter. Let's see. This looks nice. Trends, or it should be grayish. Then when someone hovers over it, it should, yeah, that makes sense. So we have trends here. So the color should change when someone hovers over it. So we have default, we have on hover. On hover, we want something close to blue. Yeah, that's fine. So at least our users knows that this is an interactive button. Then we also get to, on hover, we want the text to move a bit, right? Let me see, this is on hover. So we want to pad the text a bit, so we can increase this. This 25, this 30, let's see. Yeah, so our text is moving a bit now. This tells our users that, okay, we begin to the next page, it moves towards the right. So that's fine. So if we should click on this button now, it should bring us to this page, which is fine. So we can now hide this page and can copy this button and paste it right here. You see that? So if we have this button here, we can choose to tell the button what to do. So we're going to tell this button to go back to the previous page. Then right here, we'll change this to on hover. This is going back to 4. We'll actually just type 4 here. 4. And this is going to 30. So when the user hovers, as you see, trends now shifts towards the left. We can change this to, let's go to default and change the text to back. So you see this now, our users can just click on this and go back to the previous page. We can click on this and come to this page to see the trend and monthly breakdown of Cohort performance. Can bring this down here a bit. Okay, I think this is fine here for now until we have other things that we want to add or we want to modify this report. So if we should publish this report, for example, now, our users will be able to interact with the report. But that's not all. For example, our users may want to see the trend line like this, for example, this trend line for the retention rates and for the churn rate. So let's do that. So what we can do is to go to modeling, start new parameter. We want to use the field parameters. The fields we want to use are under measures. We have the churn rate and the retention rate. So we'll call this cohort trends. Then we can just click on create. So Power BI is going to create that for us. What we'll need to do next is just change a fittings on this visual and we will be fine. So let's adjust the shape of this visual. Remove this retention right here. and go to then Cohort trends and add Cohort trends to the visual. It's not to the legend, but to the y-axis. Let's see. Yeah, but it's going to look a bit messy since the both of them are showing at the same time. And you just see that they are like the opposite of each other. So, but you want to see one at a time. So what we'll do is to change this to single select and change this to a drop down list. Now work here is done. We just have to copy the visuals and look for where we will put this. Use a faster approach, which will be to just duplicate this page, remove this visual, go to the trend line and copy this too. We paste this right here. We don't want to sync, so we can adjust the page like here. And we can also combine this with other information. For example, we can choose to add lost customers as another visual down here. So what we'll do is to change this. Instead of retention metrics, we want to see the churn metrics. Let's see churn metrics. We want to see the cohort trends, and it should be single select. Drop down, click single select, that's fine. So I can now delete this. So we can now choose between churn. That's great. So that's just for this. Your user, you can choose to add a slider here, zoom slider, where the users can choose the month they want to start from. First month is first transaction, second month is first transaction. Yeah. Then we don't want the zoom slider for the y-axis. We can turn that one off. So by doing that, it may add a new meaning to what we have here, right? Which of the trends do we want to show? So let's move this a bit forward. So in that case, trends is supposed to go here and our lost customers is here. So we'll just go back to this place. Seems like I'm changing things now a lot. I'll copy this, um, put this right here. And I'm going to rename this to lost customers. Lost customers. Then we'll just do trends. So we can now change the destination for this button to trends. As it should be trends. Then finally, let's see, this should be this navigation, location, trends. Then on trends, we can copy this one right here, this back button, copy the back button and paste it right here. So this is still for monthly. This is still correct. This is fine. We can hide this page. Now that we have everything sorted out, we can delete the other pages. So this is what our report looks like. So we have the retention metrics where we can see this. We want to see lost customers and other information. So we see lost customers. We know this is monthly. We can switch to weekly, which is not yet ready. Then we see the trend for new customers. You can do month over month change for new customers. You can do active customers. Then we see the percentage cost composition for new customers that is dropping over the month. Then we see that for retained customers, and we see the one for resurrected customers. We also see the comparison between lost customers and resurrected customers. Your users can always interact with this report and filter reports by date. So what I strongly recommend is to make sure, whatever it takes, that you inform your users that they need to choose the start of every month, since that is what you're looking at here. By the time we add the weekly cohort and all that, so some things may change because now they'll have to choose the start of every week. So this looks fine. So what we have for a basic report, you can just publish this, right? You can just add more information here, just publish this report. So let's stop here for today. I'm going to see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Have a good day.